All right, that's 7 News at 5:30. Thanks for watching. I'm Lynn Martinez.
And 7 News at 6 starts right
now. Next, a widow back in court, facing off with a boyfriend, but prosecutors hoping to find answers into her husband's murder. The story first on 7.
He was fighting the police, and the police have every right and duty to protect themselves and to take him into custody.
Police offering their side of the story after a teen says they went way too far. Another attack by a python, and another animal becoming prey. Plus, a trip home to the Gulf Coast, proving to be both heartbreaking and heartwarming. Carmel Cavero heading back to the bayou. The news at 6 starts now. Live from the news station, this is 7 News at 6. Her husband murdered, and police called her a suspect. Now a widow once again under fire after a breakup with a boyfriend.
I politely said to you, please have your bimbos and stop calling me. And you said, I don't want to get in the middle of this, Denise. And I said, dear, you're already in the middle.
7 News at 6 with a new Calvo controversy.
Well, hello again, everyone. Denise Calvo with some strong words for her ex-lover.
But prosecutors think she may have told him something else in private. The story first on 7. Raj Lowe has the update. He joins us from Fort Lauderdale. Raj.
Craig, the saga of Denise Calvo continues, and this is a woman who has fascinated the public in part because at one time she was a suspect in her own husband's murder. She was never charged with a single thing, and now she is back in a courtroom. Why? Because of a spat with her ex-boyfriend.
And the fact was, you had your girlfriend call me for no reason on the 26th. Let me finish. You asked me a question, and I'm going to finish it. Okay? And in return, I called you, politely said to you, please have your bimbos and stop calling me.
Denise Calvo in civil court, a squabble with her ex-boyfriend. He wants a restraining order. And this isn't just any domestic dispute. Calvo is the widow of Jose Calvo. He was the prominent Coconut Grove businessman who was gunned down 2 years ago, and this has been a highly publicized case. Charged in that case, Anthony Lee. The attorney for Lee also attends the civil hearing. He alleges that Denise had something to do with her husband's death and may have spilled the beans to her ex-boyfriend.
I learned about the fact that apparently Miss Calvo is concerned about some information that she has given to Mr. Mullins.
Denise has always maintained she had nothing to do with her husband's murder. But now Lee's attorney's trying to make the claim that Denise has a vicious side.
Channel 7, Rush.
7 News was the first to tell Scott Mullins' story.
When we were doing our interview, my ex-wife from North Carolina called. So I took the call and I put it on speaker. And Rush was standing there and she said, Scott, Denise just called me. Told me if you went to the police or the media that bad things were going to happen to me, the kids, and you. And he heard that. I was hoping that he would testify to that fact.
I'm not going to voluntarily testify without consultation with my station attorney. Okay.
Calvo argues in court she didn't threaten anyone. In fact, she says she was intimate with Mullins just last week.
You didn't go to Denise's house on that?
I was within 100 feet of her house.
Oh, you're in my house now.
Judge Howard Tesher grants the restraining order.
It's a junction, man.
Calvo, who had many times during this hearing was chuckling at what she called the absurdity of the allegations, now walks out of court with a restraining order.
He's definitely not intimidated or threatened by her. Why all the phone calls? Why all the contact? I mean, he's not much of a man.
So Denise Calvo from the very beginning here, especially with Mr. Mullins' allegations, said that they were simply ludicrous, but now the reality remains if she violates any portion of this restraining order, she could wind up in jail, and her attorney says that is just absolutely ridiculous. We are live tonight in Fort Lauderdale. Raj Lowe, 7 News.
All right, Raj. Construction workers left dangling in danger today. 3 painters working on the 38th floor of the Trump Grand condominium along Collins Avenue in Sunny Isles Beach this morning. The cable snapping on their scaffold, leaving them hanging 300 feet in the air by only their safety harnesses. Firefighters breaking out windows from inside the high-rise, pulling the men to safety. The workers only suffering some rope burns, but as you might imagine, they were left pretty badly shaken up. A similar incident happened at this condo project 10 days ago.
Well, another side tonight to a story you saw first on 7. Police officers accused of going too far while tasering a teen, now defending their actions. And 7 News reporter Joel Brown following the latest for us. He is live in Hialeah tonight. Joel?
Craig, Hialeah's police chief is the first to admit the pictures do not look good. The bruising, the taser marks, but then he is soon to add that his police officers were having to fight with this boy and had to fight back.
We know we didn't crack his head, we didn't break his mouth, we didn't break his arms.
Hialeah's police chief has not seen the home video of a bruised up 16-year-old Roberto Martinez, 4 holes in his back, tasered 14 times by Hialeah police. The boy's family calls it excessive force. Police disagree.
He was fighting the cops. He was fighting the police, and the police have every right and duty to protect themselves and to take him into custody. And the taser is the weapon that we use because it's the minimum level of force.
It's what began as a trespassing incident at a local restaurant September 23rd. Police say the boy refused to leave and resisted arrest, punching and kicking officers. Monday, the boy detailing his side of the story.
I don't know, he just pulled out the taser gun and started tasing me. And then another policeman, he told me to get down. And when I was getting down, he tasered me from the back.
He was in total shock. Tasered, and he had his eyes closed, and I thought they had killed him. I literally started crying because I thought they had killed him.
There are pictures of dried blood on the boy's face and video of his back covered in marks. But Hialeah police say the injuries would have been much worse had this been excessive force.
Well, I don't think the force was excessive. I think it was necessary and it was appropriate.
But Roberto Martinez's family and lawyers demanding more be done.
We're calling for an independent investigation by the Hialeah City Council, as well as the Internal Affairs Department by the city of Hialeah.
Are they going to sue? Most likely they will. Do I care? I'm going to conduct a full investigation regardless of whether they sue or not.
So Hialeah's police chief questioning why it took the family 2 weeks to make their concerns known. Meantime, the mayor of Hialeah has ordered the police chief to investigate this incident, the findings to be turned over to the state attorney's office. That's the latest tonight, live in Hialeah. Joel Brown, 7 News.
All right, Joel, thanks. Another python on the prowl in a South Florida neighborhood. A 10-foot African rock python found at a farm in southwest Miami-Dade this morning. The owners noticing one of their turkeys was missing, realizing the predator went on the attack.
We heard that the snake had turkey dinner before Thanksgiving.
This is very unusual. We get maybe 3 to 4 calls like this in a year's time of snakes this big.
The snake taken to A.D. Barnes Park, where it joins another python suspected of eating a homeowner's cat over the weekend. A third python died after swallowing an alligator in the Everglades earlier this month. And a South Florida family forced out by flames, a fire ripping through their house along Northwest 45th Street and 29th Avenue this morning after a teenager left the oven on. All 11 relatives managing to make it out, but one of them, who's pregnant, had to be treated for smoke inhalation.
A brave little girl taking another big step on the road to recovery tonight. The child undergoing more successful surgery in South Florida. Live to the news desk now, 7's Lynn Martinez is there with this story. Lynn?
Well, Craig, she certainly is like any other little girl. She likes dolls. She has a big brother that probably gets on her nerves, but she's been through more agony than most people experience in a lifetime.
It is this little girl's tears that makes it all worthwhile. Maria Klemenko has spent nearly all her life being different.
The burns could have been easily fatal for her.
And for the third time, this 9-year-old is in the United States for reconstructive surgery. Maria had surgery to her face on Monday. 60% of her body was burned when she accidentally tipped over a pot of water as a toddler. The village in her native Ukraine is so isolated, Maria nearly died.
There wasn't running water, that they used egg on the open burns, and perhaps that protected her enough to get to the Ukraine.
Maria first came to the United States when she was 2, and since then, doctors and Baptist Children's Hospital have been donating their services. Her mom could not be more grateful.
Our best doctor, John Cassell, and also Children's Baptist Hospital for coming for very good care for us and to all people, doctors and nurses.
Maria's still got a long road ahead, but no doubt has the strength most adults never attain.
It's an ongoing plan to get her completely reconstructed by the time she's finished growing. And she's 9 years old now, and we see that she's growing beautifully.
She's a beautiful girl. Doctors will operate again when Maria heals. We understand from this latest surgery, she'll likely be here for 6 more months getting treatment. If you'd like to help her out, call Baptist Hospital. The public relations person will help you out. At the news desk, Lynn Martinez, 7 News.
Thanks, Lynn.
Well, lots more to come on this Tuesday evening from the news station. A clue on camera after shots ring out at a South Florida store, and police are hoping it will help them crack this case. We're live.
Days after a deadly earthquake, a miracle is found in the ruins.
An old bridge going out with a bang.
The dealer promised no problems with her used car. Turns out she was left with 11, though. Now she's hoping Howard can drive home a solution. Stay tuned.
Her hometown ravaged by a hurricane, but residents vowing to rebuild.
The city is 300 years old. I mean, we got here one step at a time. We're going to get back one step at a time.
Carmel Cafaro going back to the bayou.
The rebuilding and recovery in New Orleans will be a long, painstaking process.
But amid all the heartache, there is hope because the city's spirit has survived. 7's Carmel Cafaro with the proof in part 2 of her series.
The bells of St. Louis Cathedral ring along empty streets in the French Quarter these days. There are no artists hanging their paintings on the fence around Jackson Square or along Pirates Alley. The Café du Mans is empty. Hot beignets topped with powdered sugar, just a sweet memory. And everywhere, businesses are shuttered and locked and empty. Even though the quarter escaped major damage, it reflects the crisis facing the entire area.
I was born and raised in and around New Orleans. Coming back now is both a heartbreaking and a heartwarming journey.
I was able to save my Tulane diploma from graduate school.
Tom Parker is a friend. He, his wife Maria, and daughter Kayla lost 2 homes, this one outside New Orleans and another in Mississippi. 15-year-old Kayla is coping with all that, plus the loss of her friends. Her school is gone, and the students are scattered throughout several states. Maria, a school teacher months away from retirement, is now unemployed.
All these material things really aren't that important, but we have no place to call home. We're just, I feel like a gypsy going from place to place.
And there are no easy answers for friends or the other families facing the same uncertainty. The water here killed everything it touched, including entire neighborhoods. But there are also signs of life and the spirit of New Orleans returning. Some as basic as a message on a garage door. The owners are coming home. K. Paul's restaurant is still closed, but the staff is cooking, now in a warehouse parking lot. They're feeding hundreds of people a day for free.
This is what the city's about. It's feeding people, making them happy, and we got to keep that going.
In the city's garden district, people are coming home and cleaning up.
You couldn't blow me out of this city.
John Martin says he put out the rocking chairs and put up the Halloween decorations because it's a step toward recovery. At night, Bourbon Street is coming back, but most of the customers are off-duty military and law enforcement, but not tourists that are the city's bread and butter. At the Redfish Grill, the first restaurant to reopen, owner Ralph Brennan believes the city is on its way back.
I think the spirit in New Orleans will come back, but you have to come home.
But he is concerned by reports some New Orleanians will not return home.
I mean, it hurts as much as the day when I saw the city flooding after the storm. I mean, I cried then, and you know, if people don't come home, I'm going to cry again, because this is a wonderful city. And we all loved it at one time. We should still love it, and we should come home.
But for so many who have nothing, no homes, no jobs, no cars, staying away may not be a matter of choice. Clearly, there will be nothing easy about rebuilding the Big Easy. Carmel Cafaro, 7 News.
Wow. Part 3 of Carmel's series, Back to the Bayou, airs tomorrow night, and Carmel's going to show us how one port in Cajun country directly affects how much you pay for a gallon of gas.
Still ahead here from the Newsplex. Tonight, a terror threat causing concern on a major subway system, but now the truth which will leave commuters relieved.
Plus, she writes the songs, but now Gloria Estefan is writing something else, and she's hoping you will read all about it. We'll tell you about it coming up at 6:30. Well, if this is you, you know buying a used car, it can be hit or miss.
What can you do if the salesman promises you a rose garden, but you wind up with a lemon instead? The answer in tonight's edition of Help Me Howard with Patrick Frazier.
Unless you were born filthy rich, unless your uncle left you an enormous trust fund, unless you won the lottery as a teenager, odds are you've had to buy a used car in your lifetime. Christy just did.
I needed a car desperately. My previous car broke right before school, and I was desperate.
To get her kids to school, Christy scrambled to find the car. She took a cab to this Miami car lot looking for a nice, cheap one. A salesman told her this one was perfect for her.
They told you the car was in good condition.
In good condition, that I had no problem. I mean, my salesman guaranteed me.
Well, to be polite, the salesman forgot about a couple of things. He said the air conditioner needed a little Freon. Actually, it needed $800 in repairs. And there was another problem he forgot to mention.
Driving home, my son noticed. He's like, I smell gas on my side of the car when he got out.
Her son was right.
We could actually look on the floor, and I could see the gas leaking on my driveway.
Christy took it back to the dealer to complain about the air conditioner and the leaking gas.
They told me that I bought it as is, that they didn't know about it.
Needless to say, this time Christy didn't believe the salesman, so she took it to a repair shop.
You're leaking gas, it's possible you can blow up.
Christy then realized what that nice $2,000 car she had bought really was.
I feel like they sold me a death trap for me and my 3 kids.
Christy paid a mechanic $250 to stop the leak, but while repairing that, they discovered the frame of the car was falling apart.
Like they touched it and flakes of metal, just like if it was aluminum foil on a grill, flaked off.
Now her kids are afraid to ride in this thing.
If a piece falls off, that the car might explode or something like that.
But she bought the car as is, so is Christy out of luck. Howard?
As is does usually mean as is, but this appears to be a deceptive trade practice. In other words, because Christy specifically asked about certain problems and was not told the truth, legally, she can get out of the contract, get her money back, and if she has to sue to get that, she can get her lawyer's fees paid as well.
I then called the dealer 5 different times. Twice they hung up on me. The other 3 times they put me on hold. Finally, they told me to come talk to the owner. I did. When they saw me, they locked the door and told me the owner was gone. Later on the phone, he told me he didn't know about Christy and said, quote, "Let me see what I can do for her." Bottom line, Howard says, there's a reason the phrase buyer beware was created.
There are some good used car lots, and some you need to be very careful of. Make sure your mechanic checks out the car before you sign anything. If the seller won't let you do that, do not drive away in the car, but rather walk away as fast as you can.
Christy is now saying what many people who have contacted us about used car dealers have also said to us.
I want my money back so I can purchase a car where it's a car that's worth it and safe for me and my kids.
When I called one more time to see what the owner could do about Christy, a fellow who said he was a salesman laughed at me and said they didn't have an owner. He then hung up. That day, Christy got an attorney to sue the dealership with no ownership. Used all your patience to fix a problem? Put us behind the wheel. We may look like a wreck, but we have a few miles left on us. Will this help me, Howard? I'm Patrick Frazier. 7 News.
Now, time for 7 weather with Chief Meteorologist Phil Barrow.
And good afternoon. Partly cloudy skies all over South Florida, except for the lower Keys right now with some strong thunderstorms moving through. 86 in Key West, Marathon with 84. In the low to mid 80s from Deerfield Beach all the way down into Homestead. And here we can clearly see the push of moisture coming in from the Atlantic over interior parts of South Florida. And right now, most of the activity over the lower Keys, especially moving right now from the 7 Mile Bridge all the way down into Key West. You have about another 15 or 20 minutes of this moderate to strong activity as it moves into the Florida Straits. Let's take a look at what's going on right now. High pressure dome over the center of the country. We also have a stationary front over the middle Atlantic states. This is keeping us under a northeasterly flow, bringing some moisture, keeping a few storms mostly over the interior part of South Florida. Where there is plenty of activities in the Caribbean, we have a huge area of low pressure, bringing lots of rainfall over the Caribbean and also in the Atlantic. San Juan radar still showing some showers and thunderstorms over the western part of the island and over the Virgin Islands. All this is moving towards the north, and it will not change today or tomorrow. And what a year 2005 has been when we talk about hurricanes and tropical systems. Remember Vince? Well, it's the first tropical system ever to strike Spain. It just went underneath Portugal as a tropical storm, and right now it's just being absorbed by another system. But wow, 2005, it's going down in the history books for sure. Now for us, few sprinkles tonight, then by tomorrow, partly cloudy skies, some isolated showers. We'll be watching the development of a low pressure system here in the western Atlantic. It should be a big rainmaker for the northeast, but nice come Thursday. The marine forecast seas of 1 to 2 feet. The bay with a light chop, few sprinkles tonight. For tomorrow, partly sunny with a slight chance of showers. Here's your extended outlook, looking nice for Thursday and Friday, and a few showers for the weekend. That's your 7 on 7. 7 News will be right back.
7 News brought to you in part by your Lexus dealer and the incomparable LS, the ultimate expression of their passionate pursuit.
Time for 7 Sports with Steve Shapiro.
Braswell. He put it up, and he won it! Kevin Braswell wins the game for Miami.
Rookie Kevin Braswell beats the buzzer. The Heat beat the Spurs by 2 last night. The outcome, it was inconsequential. The Heat and Spurs raised $1.1 million for hurricane relief, and every player on each team got to play. What was obvious, the San Antonio starters are a lot more together than the Heat starters. Spurs led by 18 early, but the Heat subs rally back. Antoine Walker off the bench for a game-high 20, also had 5 steals. Alonzo Mourning had 11, Wade and Shaq at 18 and 17. The Heat win the game 103-101.
We just have to get used to each other out there, but I saw some things that made me feel pretty good, you know, with a couple of practices and a couple of games in the belt.
I'm proud of 1 through 18 who played tonight for us. Did a great job, and, you know, the young guys did a great job, so the only thing we can do is build on from this game.
Huge blow to the Phoenix Suns. All-star forward Amari Stoudemire is out 4 months. Had knee surgery today. He averaged 26 last year. One of the best young players in the game, Stoudemire just signed a 5-year, $73 million extension last week. Dolphins at Tampa Bay Sunday. Today, the Fins trade running back Jesse Chapman to New Orleans for a conditional 7th-round draft pick. Skier for the Steelers last night. Watch the left knee of quarterback Ben Roethlisberger. Luis Castillo hits him on the knee. It looks worse than it is. A hyperextended knee, no damage, and Roethlisberger could play this Sunday. As for the game, Bill Cowher and the Steelers against San Diego. The Chargers take the lead in the 4th. LaDainian Tomlinson, his 17th straight game with a touchdown. Chargers lead 22-21. 6 seconds left. Jeff Reed hits a 40-yard field goal for the Steelers. Pittsburgh beats San Diego 24-22. American League Championship Series starts tonight. Angels and White Sox. Halos ace Bartolo Colon left off the playoff roster with a sore shoulder. The cranky Yankees are out. Lost to the Angels. Crosby and Sheff collide. 2-run triple for the Angels. A-Rod had an awful series. He was 2 for 15, and he hits into a double play in the 9th inning with 2 on. Still 2 men on, and this is the last out of the game. Matsui grounds out to first. The Yankees lose 5-3. They lose the series 3-2. Their season is over.
Well, of course, it's hard. You know, our season's over, so we're going home now. It's you know, it's tough to swallow, but they played better than us. They beat us. We knew coming in that Anaheim was going to be a real tough match for us. They played really well, and you know, we left our guts out there, though. You know, I couldn't be more proud of the guys and the effort, and I'm speechless right now.
$200 million payroll, but you know what they say, money can't buy you love. Is that true? Greg and Bill.
Hasn't worked for you so far.
I don't know about you, but I'm willing to try. How about you?
That is it for this edition of 7 News at 6. We thank you for joining us. I'm Craig Stevens.
I'm Balkis Nure. Ciao, ciao. 7 News at 6:30. Lynn, Tom, right here, round the bend. Stay tuned.